Welcome to the Good Old Days of Radio Show. This is John Tefteller, your host. We are on week 2 of a salute to the early 1950s radio series Crime Classics. And Crime Classics wasn't on radio very long, but they did very excellent work in dramatizations of various famous crimes. And we have 2 people with us again this week who know much more about this show than I do. I've listened to the episodes, but I don't know much about the background or anything else. But I'm learning. I'm learning as we go here. And the 2 experts are Mr. Karl Schadow, who is a expert researcher in vintage radio. Among other things, I'm sure he does something else with his time, but I just know him as a researcher in vintage radio, and probably the best one I've ever encountered. Anyway, that's Karl. Karl Schadow is with us, along with Stephen C. Smith, who wrote a book called Hitchcock and Herrmann, which you can get from Larry Edmunds' bookshop or anywhere else where fine books are sold. Stephen C. Smith is here to discuss Bernard Herrmann's contributions to the show. Herrmann was if you didn't know, very famous composer, worked with Alfred Hitchcock a lot, and also did a lot of suspense and other radio shows. And Stephen will tell you about the musical aspects of Crime Classics. So today's episode, last week we were in ancient Rome. This week we are going to be in classical Rome, the reign of Nero. Nero as in Nero fiddled while Rome burned, which is a phrase I learned decades ago in school. I'm not sure how accurate it was, but anyway, I learned that. So Karl and Stephen, tell us about this particular episode of Crime Classics and what to listen for before we hear it.
In our second podcast, entitled Your Loving Son, Nero, that emperor certainly had mixed feelings for his mother, but Elliott Lewis certainly loved radio and had been involved with radio for 15 to 20 years prior to his involvement with Crime Classics. Elliott was born in New York and ended up moving to Hollywood and just pursuing careers and in business and law before getting the actor bug in 1937. First show was on KHJ in Los Angeles that year, and he just did marvelous things on radio as an actor. He did syndicated series, for example, The Cinnamon Bear, to network series including Silver Theater, Arch Oboler's Plays. We heard him on Jack Benny and Phil Harris as Frankie Gremley, the left-handed guitar player. Elliott was also a star on Voyage of the Scarlet Queen, Casebook of Gregory Hood during the 40s. But he was also what I called a quadruple threat in radio. Usually some of the people like Arch Oboler was a triple threat, producer, director, writer. But Elliott, I called him a quadruple threat, actor, producer, director, and writer. As a writer, his first script was The Drain. It was actually performed on station KMPC in Hollywood in 1940 on their version of The Hermit's Cave. He was also involved in major centers. He was also in Chicago, happened to be in Chicago in 1939. He was a star on Knickerbocker Playhouse. Later that year, he was featured by columnist Ada Hopper as the Find of the Year in Radio. During World War II, he served with the Army in the Armed Forces Radio Service and did such a great job that he earned a Legion of Merit Award. And you hear Lewis as T4Y on the Armed Forces Radio series Mystery Playhouse, and T4Y is Think for Yourself. As a director, Elliott had filled in for William Spear on some suspense, some Sam Spade episodes. His first full-time directorship was on Broadway's My Beat in the fall of '49. He then gained the helm of both Pursuit and Suspense later that year, Suspense during the fall of 1950. He relinquished Pursuit in 1952, but kept Suspense, and then added Kathy and Elliott Lewis on stage and Crime Classics in 1953. And we'll turn it over to Stephen for any aspects of the music.
Well, thank you. And as mentioned last week, I'll mention it again and again, but I'll keep it brief. One of the amazing things about this series is that Bernard Herrmann had only 3, sometimes 4 musicians to work with to evoke an entire era, an epoch, and also in a few extraordinary cases, and we'll mention those episodes when we get to them. Not only did he evoke the in place, but he simultaneously gives us insights into the characters and creates a lot of suspense, the true trifecta. In the case of this episode, he used musicians to, as he did somewhat on last time's program of Caesar, he uses percussion to evoke this Roman world. So imagine this very small, quartet, I believe, Karl, of musicians in this case. The instruments they're playing are, because musicians could play more than one instrument, clarinet / bass clarinet, horn, harp, timpani, xylophone, suspended cymbal, and shakers. So I suspect there was one person playing timpani, xylophone, suspended cymbal, and shakers, one person playing clarinet and bass clarinet, and then a horn and a harpist. But, he gets an amazingly big sound from, the sound of a wedding, the number of people you'd see in a wedding band. So listen for yourself.
Well, I have to say this. When I listened to these, I didn't realize that there wasn't a full orchestra on it. So he fooled me, and I'm sure he fooled a whole lot of people listening. If there's only 3 or 4 musicians and it sounds like a full orchestra, that's a masterful accomplishment.
This is literally textbook dramatic writing that should be studied in schools. It is brilliant.
Okay, well, great. So let's listen to the episode. This is Crime Classics from August 31st, 1953, CBS Radio Network. The title that they gave this particular show is Your Loving Son, Nero. So we know it's all about Nero, and here we go.
Good evening. This is Crime Classics. I am Thomas Hyland with another true story of crime. Listen. The sound you hear is that of a swimmer in the Adriatic Sea. Her name is Agrippina, and the stroke she's using, 'tis one of the day. According to research, a kind of combination overhand side and flutter kick. Agrippina is quite good at it, too, she being the mother of the Emperor of Rome, and having the best instructors in all things. For instance, her swimming instructor told her to roll over on her back and float when she got tired, which she just did. And she was tired, all right. She'd been swimming toward shore for the last 2 hours. Not for laurels, not for prizes, but to save her life. It seems her son had tried to drown her by rigging up a boat whose bottom would fall out, and which did when Agrippina was on it. Sonny's name? Nero. So tonight, my report to you about a mother and son in Rome in the 1st century A.D., listed in my files as Your Loving Son, Nero.
Crime Classics, a new series of true crime stories taken from the records and newspapers of every land from every time. Your host each week, Mr. Thomas Hyland, connoisseur of crime, student of violence, and teller of murders. Now, once again, Mr. Thomas Hyland.
Rome, in the year 62 A.D. Nero had been on the throne for 8 years and had put on 60 pounds. And no wonder. At 25, he had tasted every sweet from Ethiopia to Britannia and had scouts out for whatever he had missed. I'd better tell you some nice things about Nero before we really get into this. First of all, he had a genuine love for Rome and its people. Oftentimes, Nero would release 1,000 birds of every kind, some with Roman money attached to them. He also threw to the people pork and mutton saddles, as well as tickets for grain and togas, and choice seats to concerts, at which he sang. This was the Nero that history forgot. Now, let's have a look at the Nero who is remembered. Scene: dressing room in the Roman Colosseum. Principals: Nero and Seneca, his mentor.
Hold high the shield for me, Seneca, so that I may look into it.
You look like...
What? Out with it. Out with it, Seneca.
like a beast of the Nubian plains.
Which was my design when I put on the skin of a black leopard.
I meant sleek.
And you meant handsome?
And dangerous.
Do I frighten you?
Yes.
Well, then cower.
Oh, Nero.
Rawr!
The Emperor will have great sport today. The crowd will love this novelty.
I am beloved, is that not so?
The poets sing of it. But listen now, great Nero. I have a thing to speak of.
Hand me that broadsword.
Here.
This sword will be my claws in the arena this day.
Beloved Nero,
Seneca?
this thing I have to speak of.
Yes.
They say,
Who?
those about you of importance, they say you grow overly fond of your mother,
As I am her son, why not?
that she saps you of your wisdom, that she does undue influence upon you.
Agrippina's a loving mother.
Just so, too much so. Her mother love saps you of your vigor.
What you say is an impiety, Seneca.
Lord Nero, be careful of your sword.
What more of my mother and me?
I repeat only what they say.
Come, Seneca, lift me into the cage.
Yes,
Bend down your back so that I can step on it.
yes.
Be brave now, Seneca. I'm in a cage. What else is at your brain as concerns my mother?
Kill her.
For your sake? Because I love her more than you?
For the sake of Rome.
Which is me.
Of course.
Have the slaves wheel me into the arena, Seneca.
Yes.
What happened when Nero was rolled into the arena in a cage dressed in a black leopard skin is a fine clue as to the lad's personality. Also in the arena and tied securely to stakes were slaves. Then the cage was sprung open, Nero leaped out with his broadsword and performed whatever ritual came to mind. Later, when the sands of the arena were swept clean and in some places resanded, Nero performed again, this time with stringed lyre, in curlets and silken toga.
When Nero sweetly strikes his lyre, Apollo strings his bow, and Nero's song is the tongue of fire, while the goddess moon swings low. For Nero is the prince beloved, and Nero is adored on high.
And so on into the night. He didn't sing well, but he sang loud and long. And he had a special arrangement with the Colosseum guards. Collect the heads of all those who tried to leave while he was singing. It was usually after midnight when Nero finally gave the signal for his audience to go home. Nero was fatigued and he wanted his mother. History tells us Agrippina had a restorative influence on her son because of the soothing quality of her voice, perhaps of her understanding of the light in her motherly eyes, or just perhaps because of a way she had with rose oil and myrrh.
Mother.
Hush, son. How tired you must be from the day. Let me this soothing of you.
Mother.
Turn your other shoulder to me, son.
So help me, Jupiter, Mother, if you don't let me ask you what...
Yes, what is it?
What I did today in the arena with the wearing of the leopard skin. What of it, Mother?
Terrifying.
Huh? What else?
Exciting.
Yeah. And what else?
Poppaea sat beside me. She bit the soft of her hand till blood came in such ecstasy.
Oh, Mother, Poppaea's always biting the soft of her hand when she sees me.
She's fond of you. Why do you laugh?
Last night, Poppaea painted her face in ochre and went to the oracle. She's afraid Acte, the slave girl from Germania, has taken a place in my affection.
Has she?
Acte opened her veins this noon because I demanded it, and Poppaea doesn't know it yet. Anoint my hair, Mother. Oh, not that much.
Poppaea is waiting for you, isn't she?
Oh, of course she is.
What does she say of me?
We hardly talk, Mother. I sing to her, and then we stare at each other. Ah, thank Jupiter for Eros.
But Seneca talks to you, doesn't he?
Hand me that garland, Mother.
Doesn't he?
No, much. Constantly, pratingly, ceaselessly, without end.
Of me?
Much. Constantly, pratingly, ceaselessly, without end.
What does he say?
He wants me to kill you.
I see.
He says you love me too much and have undue influence upon me, therefore you should be dead.
Nero, my son.
Yes, Mother.
Remember that Claudius died suddenly, and for that reason you are emperor. Remember that Claudius died because I wished it. Somehow there was poison, and somehow Claudius died. And remember, too, that rightfully your stepbrother Britannicus should sit on the emperor's throne. And remember...
Jupiter, look at the hourglass. The sand's run out. I'm late. Let me kiss you. Ave Mater. The poppy blossom of slender shaft, of scarlet petal her gaze enthralled. Give thanks to Olympus, give thanks to the gods that Caesar Nero has to her called.
Emperor?
Wait. I lay on the loggia today after the pool, and I gazed up at the heavens, and the thoughts went through me in a rush. Millions of thoughts, and...
Bad boy.
After tonight, there's tomorrow, and the being emperor again, and the whisperings and the intrigues. Oh, Poppea, my head swims in thoughts. My poor head.
Rest it upon me. Emperor.
Yes.
Your mother anointed well. Your curlets smell of the dew.
She hates you, Poppea.
I know.
She hates Seneca.
Because he is wise.
Poppea.
Does not your garland bind your brow? Here, let me take it off.
Oh. Ah, gentle Poppea.
Seneca is wise, Nero.
Do you want my mother dead, too?
Only for your sake.
How?
It is said that Agrippina is anointing her stepson Britannicus lately. And in private calls him emperor.
Oh. All night a Rubicus dwells a witch. Pluto's daughter, ill-got is she. Her name is Locusta, 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 horrible witch. From the river of the dead, her poisons be.
Oh, sing no more, Nero. I love thee too well, Emperor.
Poppea wasn't the only one who bade him lay down his lyre and still his song. A man named Petronius did the same thing. He wrote Nero a note and told the emperor that he was the worst singer of all time. Then Petronius, to save a lot of time all the way around, opened his veins. But Poppea, being currently Nero's type of love, she got away with it. Also, in Nero's ear, she went on and on about the new Delphic oracle, who knew the mystery, she said, like no other oracle in Rome or in the provinces. A younger man, she told Nero, one with younger ideas, one who could conjure voices, speak to the gods, and recognize ancestors in various animals, and very good with the advice. So, Nero kissed her for her concern. Retrieved his garland, left her. On the way to the Delphic oracle, he made a decision.
And I'll do it now, as long as I've got my mind made up.
And he made a detour. Stopped in to see Locusta on the Iter Rubicus, then paid a call on his stepbrother, Britannicus.
This vase of wine I bring you, brother, from Gaul it is, where the Rhone flows gently and the grapes grow fat. O great stepbrother, whose love is dear to me and who desires nothing but good for me, for these reasons I give you this wine that you should drink. Drink it. Like that, boy. Throw back your throat and let the coolness of it, the death of it touch you and chill you. Come on! Come on! Britannicus has drunk poison and is dead. He hated life and wanted no more of it.
Then Nero called upon the Delphic oracle. No sooner had the oracle lighted his pot of fire and said the words than Nero asked a question.
My brother Britannicus is dead. What should be of my mother?
Jupiter and those on Olympus are jealous of you, O Caesar Nero. They would smile more brightly upon you if Agrippina were dead and belonged to them.
Nero went home to the palace, and the oracle went into his back room.
It is done, Seneca, I have told him.
And he will kill his mother?
This I believe.
How shrewd is Poppaea to have sent him to you?
This I believe.
On the table is 1,000 sesterces, oracle.
I will say words for you into the fire, Seneca.
Hail.
Hail.
Nero went to sleep that night with a new mission in life. He was going to kill his mother.
You are listening to Crime Classics and your host, Thomas Hyland.
A word about Rome in the year 62 A.D. Rome was in her glory. Her subject people stretched from Asia Minor to Britain, and they paid their taxes on time. A city of slaves and temples and chariot races and visitors from Greece and freedmen from the provinces and spices and oils and unguents. And here and there on the streets, an old Etruscan. The Colosseum was the center of attraction. Here, man fought man, beast fought beast, and on holidays, they switched. Nero was emperor, and you already know how Nero loved to set an example. Agrippina was his mother, and some background on her. Out of a maternal concern for her son, she poisoned a lot of people, most prominent of whom, her third husband, the Emperor Claudius. Pliny the Elder, in his letters, mentions her as the vilest of women. And I just quoted. But Pliny was called in the journals of Tacitus as a sour man, and I just quoted again. Anyhow, her son Nero woke up one morning determined to murder her. So he sent for Locusta of the Iter Rubicus.
Get off the floor, witch, and come close. You brought poisons. Vile stuff. What's this one for?
Nephews.
And this?
Daughters.
And this?
Mothers.
Mothers? Oh, tell me of it.
'Tis powdered stuff of a thing I know, plucked from a swamp I know, when one night the moon of fertility rode. In the 8th month of Octavian, when there was harvest, it kills mothers quickly, instantly.
Without pain. I would not like my mother to suffer.
Like that.
Oh. How is it used?
Yes, a drop in a sweet meat, or whatever.
I'll have it. Seneca! Pay her, Seneca. 1,000 sesterces. Seneca, have the wall splashed with sweet-smelling oil to take this reek out. Go. And so, Mother, as a small gift of the day in honor of Persephone, sweetmeats from Thebes. Plump dates rolled in cinnamon, stiffened honey from Alexandria, wild berries from the south slope of Lebanon drowned in sweet essences.
Which is your favorite, son?
This one.
Put it to my lips.
First,
Yes?
I would kiss you, Mother.
Persephone's day is a favorite of mine. You make it happier.
Bend to me. Now here is your walnut sweet.
It's very good.
Excellent.
May I have another?
Of course. Here's a choice one. It's bigger.
Ambrosia. The gods should know of it. And may I have some of that? What is it?
Oh, morsel from the Hebrews. A cluster of almonds chopped with apples and dipped in wine.
Delicious.
Mother,
What?
how do you feel?
Blessed by Jupiter, who's given me such a fond son. Son,
Yes, Mother.
eat of your gift. Here, I will place a sweetmeat to your lips.
No, stop. Stop it.
Do you ail?
Stop it. Stop it.
You ail. Let me hold you, son. Sweet son. Emperor's son.
I have here a translation from a Latin historian named Suetonius. In essence, here's what the gentleman has to say. Thrice Nero tried to poison his mother with sweetmeats and other devices, but each time, warned of his plan, she suffered herself to swallow antidotes beforehand. Nero then planned another method for his mother's destruction. He tampered with the ceiling of her bedroom, contriving a mechanical device for loosening its panels and dropping them upon her while she slept. But this leaked out through some of those connected with the plot, so that Agrippina was warned and slept elsewhere. Imagine Nero's chagrin and fury and petulance. So his mentor, Seneca, came up with a thought.
Now, the first thing you've got to do is control yourself. Throw that last Grecian urn and get it out of your system. I'm glad you did. It was a hideous bit of pottery anyway. Now the thought. Write your mother a letter.
To say what?
Well, you wrote Petronius a letter telling him it would be best for himself and the state to open his veins, did you not?
Yes.
And he did it. As did Fluvius when you wrote him a letter. And Caspar.
And Marius and his 3 sons and that senator.
Lucius.
Loud from his mouth of taxes and excesses.
And others. Write her.
And you will tell me what to say?
As before, with the others.
Let us do it.
And since, Mother, it appears you are trying to have me slain, for the good of all of us and of the state, I, Nero, Emperor, and faithful...
You're going too fast.
Where are you?
Nero.
Emperor and faithful son, do request your death. This gift I enclose, small knife of gold, for slitting, and sign it your loving son, Nero. Now put your seal to it, and I'll have a slave take it over right away.
The slave has just now brought me your letter, which needs prompt reply. I will not kill myself, Ave.
Mother? Mother? Ah. Oh, Mother.
What is it?
Did you enjoy the banquet?
You sang beautifully.
That is not what I mean, Mother.
What then?
No one fell dead at the banquet, Mother. Neither your taster nor mine.
I don't want to think about it.
I know that. That's why I've arranged this voyage for you. And when you return from Thessaly, you will bring back forgiveness in your heart for me.
Son,
Yes.
do you still want your mother dead?
No.
Swear it.
By the gods of Olympus.
Then my voyage will be joyful.
With a new and fleet ship to take you to golden sands and return refreshed.
I love you well, Nero.
You are my love, Mother. Ave. Ave. Sail home to me soon.
If this tender scene of Aves and loving kindnesses perplexes you, well, it really shouldn't. Nero was still up to no good. In spite of the sumptuous banquet he had arranged for his mother out of the clear blue sky, and in spite of the trip he had arranged for her to golden sands and return by way of a peace offering, Nero still had murder on his mind. This ship he had built for his mother, you know who built it? Anicetus. And who is Anicetus? Any of your better histories on triremes and other Roman naval craft will devote at least a few paragraphs to Anicetus. He was forever trying things against the laws of navigation. For instance, this ship that would take Agrippina to Thessaly, he designed it so its bottom would fall out 5 miles at sea. And did it? Well, let's pick up the ship just before it was 5 miles out on the Adriatic. Quiet ocean. Azure skies, as fine a 2 decks of slaves chained to the oars as you'll ever find. And Agrippina having grapes at the captain's table.
You men of the sea, Captain. All my life, the great wonder I've had about them. What's that? Help me!
Well, everybody drowned except Agrippina. Not that she was the greatest swimmer in the world, as she only knew 1 stroke, but she had sense enough to roll over on her back and float when she got tired. So she got to shore. She made known who she was, which got her a fresh toga and transportation back to the palace. Nero was waiting for her.
Mother. Mother. Mother! Oh, Mother! Slaves! Strangle her!
And they did, with a silken scarf. It is interesting to note that the word mater in Latin means mother. From mater, we get the word matricide.
Your Loving Son Nero, tonight's crime classic, was adapted from the original court reports and newspaper accounts by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. The music was composed and conducted by Bernard Herrmann, and the program is produced and directed by Elliott Lewis. Thomas Hyland is portrayed on radio by Lou Merrill. In tonight's story, William Conrad was heard as Nero and Betty Lou Gerson as Agrippina. Featured in the cast were Sammy Hill, Edgar Barrier, Hy Averback, and Martha Wentworth.
This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
Okay. I guess Nero fiddled while Rome burned at some point. Anyway, this is the Good Old Days of Radio show. You just heard Crime Classics, Your Loving Son Nero from August 31st, 1953. And we have Karl Schadow, researcher extraordinaire, and Stephen C. Smith, author of Hitchcock and Herrmann, here to kind of wrap us up after hearing the show. So whoever wants to go first, here's your chance. Go.
I'm always going to defer to Karl.
Okay, then Karl's going to go first.
Well,
All right.
Thank you, Stu. Again, I'll be mentioning the cast in full characters, full cast list. Lou Merrill, of course, we heard as Thomas Hyland. William Conrad as Nero. Now, we know Bill Conrad from many different shows, which we'll get to later in the series, but he actually tries to sing in this particular episode, which I thought was just a fascinating aspect of Conrad's career on radio, that he actually sung on this particular episode, or tried to sing.
Sheriff Matt Dillon sings.
That's right. I don't know if he ever sung on Gunsmoke.
I don't know. That's why I'm saying that. No.
Betty Lou Gerson as Agrippina, Sammy Hill, Topea, Edgar Barrier, Seneca, I Averback, the Oracle, and Martha Wentworth Custer, who provided the poison to Nero.
Karl, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. Betty Lou Gerson. I knew Betty Lou Gerson. She was married to Lou Laria. I knew her as Betty Lou Laria. But for people who might have heard her part in this program and recognized the voice, she is the voice of Cruella de Vil in 101 Dalmatians, the original Disney cartoon from the early 60s. And so a lot of people will listen to that voice and go, who is that? I recognize that voice. Yeah, it's Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, she did a lot of radio. She did a lot of animation films, one of the finest actors in many different media, especially on radio. We loved her on radio.
All right. So now that I've interrupted you, keep going. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, just a quick cast list. The script said actually three orchestra members, so we'll turn it over to Stephen.
Well, thank you. Yes, I mean, it's incredible when you think of all those percussion instruments I listed earlier being played by three people. I guess that means the harpist was also doing the other instruments of percussion. Just amazing. I also love this show for a non-musical reason, and I think it has that kind of dark humor that I've referred to in the past on the series. It's almost comic. I don't think you could do this as a television episode and have it be as credible that this woman just keeps coming back over and over and just sort of shrugs off these near-death experiences as, just sort of, and it, again, Friedkin and Fine has such a wonderful point of view towards this material and making it fun and extremely dark. And there will be exceptions to that. But really, I think I've said all I need to about the music. I just want to nod again to the ingenuity of all the people who put this show together.
Well, it makes sense to me that Hitchcock would be attracted to all of this because he had a very dark, macabre sense of humor. So
you would think so. And I tried to find out if he ever heard this show, and I rather suspect that he did not ever hear this show, because had he known that Benny took a few themes from crime classics and used them in The Trouble with Harry, I don't think he would have been pleased about that. So I suspect that he was too busy directing while he was making Rear Window at the time. So he was a little distracted with Grace Kelly and James Stewart. But yes, Hitchcock would have loved this show, and maybe he did hear it.
Well, I should put a little plug in here for, since you're mentioning this Hitchcock film, The Trouble with Harry, that's one of his films that kind of gets ignored. You always hear about Rear Window and Strangers on a Train and Psycho and all the rest of it. Trouble with Harry is actually a very lighthearted, almost hysterical, dark comedy about a bunch of people trying to hide a body.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing. If you've never seen it, I'm going to give the official nod and recommendation for you to go and find a video copy of The Trouble with Harry, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, because it's unlike any other Hitchcock film you will have seen.
I will agree with that, and I'll say, if it's possible, get 2 or 3 friends to come over, because part of the fun of promoting my book, Hitchcock and Herrmann, is watching these films with an audience. And Trouble with Harry can play not as funny when you're watching it by yourself, but with an audience, you get twice as many of the jokes. And it's, I think, a charming film with and a typically kind of lighthearted Herrmann score. And I think part of his genius with Hitchcock was the way he put Hitchcock in the music. He puts the kind of droll personality of Alfred Hitchcock in that music.
Yeah.
And the skill he does in his radio music in a different way. He liked to say that the composer's first job was to get inside the drama. And in the case of the Hitchcock films, he gets inside the drama. He puts the director in the music. And in the case of crime classics, like I say, he gives us the world these are set in, and then sometimes really psychological motivation. It's quite remarkable.
All right, very good. All right, we are here with Karl Schadow. We're wrapping up, and Stephen C. Smith, author of Hitchcock and Herrmann. I'm going to let Stephen plug his book. Where can we buy Hitchcock and Herrmann if we are interested in either Alfred Hitchcock or Bernard Herrmann or both, or just radio in general and whatever else it's related to?
Well, you're very kind. For Angelinos, for anyone out here on the West Coast, I'd say let's patronize the store you and I love, Larry Edmunds Bookstore, LarryEdmunds.com with the U in Edmunds. But you can also get it from Barnes & Noble and that Amazon thing and places like that. And you can go to my website and I'll happily sign a book plate you can put inside your book.
Oh, well, what's your website? We didn't give that out last week.
Right. Well, thank you. It's mediasteven.com, www.mediasteven.com. And I would love to hear from any old radio or film fan.
www.mediasteven.com. Okay, and the book again is Hitchcock and Herrmann. All right, we will be back next week with episode 3. And we will just tell you about that when we tune in next week. So, Stephen and Karl, thank you for all your great information. It's fun hearing about all the inside stuff on these shows. That makes everything come alive when you start getting all the background. So thanks for providing all of that. All right.
Pleasure.
This is the Good Old Days of Radio show. We'll see you next week.